You're on the phone confirming the payout for the canceled flight. The first trip fell apart when the airline grounded everything. You filed the claim. It was processed. The refund has landed. You're told you can rebook. That's covered. So you do. New flights. Same destination. Different dates. You even upgrade the hotel this time. It feels controlled now. Protected. If anything shifts again, you already know the system works. 2 days before departure, your phone lights up. The new flight is canceled. You don't panic. Not at first. You've done this once already. You open the policy. You start the claim form again. You describe what happened. Airline cancellation. Rebooked travel. Financial loss. This time, the response is slower. They acknowledge the cancellation. They ask for the original claim reference. They ask when you booked the second trip. They ask whether you were aware of ongoing disruption. You answer easily. Of course you rebooked. Of course you knew there had been issues. That's why you insured it. Then the email arrives. It doesn't deny the cancellation. It doesn't question the expense. It focuses on timing, on when the second booking was made, on what was already known at that point. It explains that the first cancellation was unforeseen. The second was different. The trip didn't change. The context did. And context is what the system cares about. You stare at the screen. The loss is real. You paid again. You planned again. You assumed the protection reset when the first claim was settled. But it didn't reset. It remembered. Another version of this happens with a hotel stay. The first booking is canceled because of a storm warning. You claim. It's paid. You rebook for the following week, trusting that the worst has passed. Then the storm lingers. Roads close again. You cancel again. This time, the reply focuses on the forecast, on what was predicted when you made the second booking. The cancellation is acknowledged. The risk is not. Or it happens when you cut a trip short due to illness. The claim is processed. You recover. You rearrange the holiday for later in the year. Then a related complication arises. You file again. The response circles back to medical history, to what was ongoing, to whether the second interruption was truly separate from the first. The trip is new. The risk is not considered new enough. What makes this unsettling is the feeling of reset. When the first claim was approved, it felt like closure, like a line had been drawn under the disruption. You started again in good faith. You paid again. You planned again. But the system didn't see a fresh start. It saw a continuation. The protection you trusted the first time was built around unpredictability. The second time, unpredictability is harder to prove. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you ignored a warning, but because the circumstances are now framed as something you stepped back into knowingly. By the time you understand this, the money is already committed. The booking's already made. The cancellation already confirmed. The difference lies in interpretation, not in what happened at the airport gate. You thought each booking stood alone. The system grouped them together, and that grouping changes everything. You didn't take a reckless risk. You acted on reassurance. You believed that once a claim was paid, the slate was clean, that the next trip began from zero. That insurance protected events, not timelines. But timelines are exactly what it tracks. The second cancellation didn't fall apart because of the airline. It fell apart because the first one already existed. And the moment you felt confident enough to try again was the moment your protection quietly narrowed around you.